Because you don't need, just because you're single and the other person is single, doesn't mean that you should be dating. When you understand marriage is work, then you go in with intentionality. And also, before you think about what you want from the other person, ask yourself, what am I going to offer?
Actually, what would you tell a young person who is feeling like they are delayed? Meanwhile, God is working. Hello, good people. How are you doing? Welcome back to Sukibe YouTube Conversations, where we hold authentic conversations to help you walk the journey of self-awareness, find identity and fulfill purpose, in every aspect of your life. My name is Susan Kibe Atsulu. I am born again. I love Jesus. Susan is a founder of Claim Your Crown mentorship program, which does mentorship for moms parenting alone, people who've been through separation, divorce, just helping you see that you can rise up and live life again. And there is no situation that is too gone to summarize you or finish or kill your purpose. And thank you so much for your support, for your continued support in subscription, in sharing our videos, even watching our content and receiving the feedback. We are grateful. So last time I was on set with an amazing friend of mine that I have come to love and admire in personality and how she does her life. And she's taking us through preparation of the singles, how you prepare for marriage, the things to look out for. And we realized this conversation we couldn't end with one recording. So we are back to pick up from where we left. But in case you're joining us for the first time, I'll allow her to introduce herself, tell her who she is and what she does.
Thank you very much, Sue. I really appreciate you having me. And I love what you do as well. Being out there supporting people and mentoring the young people and having this platform that can help impact people and bring healing. So God bless you for that. My name is Hope Waiganjo. I am a wife, a mother of 3 amazing children. I'm very passionate about relationships, godly relationships and marriages. And through that, I help mentor women to understand their purpose and their calling and to live up to it. And through also the same passion, my husband and I do marriage counseling, and we also head our marriage ministry in church where we serve. I'm happy to be here. Professionally, I am an interpersonal skills trainer and coach. I help empower people to be able to communicate effectively, to be able to understand themselves through emotional intelligence. I also help people with leadership skills and also train people to sell better with confidence. I also do personal branding. Before Sue tells me you forgot that one. Yes. So through a company that I founded called Bold Nouvelle, we do all the trainings, including corporate trainings. Yes.
Amazing. It's interesting how when I have a guest and they introduce themselves, I remember I did say I'm a wife, I'm a mom. I think when my passion pushes me, I go too fast to say about an emotional wellness coach. Yes. So I'm also a mom of a clan. I'm running an amazing blended family by the grace of God. And that is how some of these things even get to me as experiences and lessons. And I realized, by the way, I'm not the only one. There are people who have young adults and Gen Zs who are struggling to, even see how to do relationships well. And so we talked about last time how you navigated your life as a single girl. And I think what stood out is at least you are grounded in God. You had a footing in the word of God, an amazing community, because also whoever has your ear will direct how you move.
Yes.
And we went on with the conversation, and today I want us to pick it up from where we stopped about the place of emotional intelligence, which now will bring wholeness.
Yes.
Because if we don't manage our emotions, we'll be erupting on anybody around us. It will be even a problem to the community who should be supporting us.
Very true.
So what is a place of emotional intelligence for a young person who is preparing to date, get into marriage?
Wow. Of course, the scientifically or biologically, they say that is it at the age of 25 is when we become fully grown, even in our emotions. And I think that's why many times it becomes the age when people want to get married. So at that point, you have gotten to understand, yourself. You can make decisions. You can you understand yourself a bit. But emotional intelligence helps you because yes, you may be able. You know your personality. You can stand on your own. But what emotional intelligence helps you to do is to be able to recognize and understand your own emotions and your feelings, the things that trigger you to behave in a certain way, and how to manage them, and then also be able to recognize and understand other people's emotions and feelings, and how to be able to to live with them or to manage the relationships. And so it is important because like I said in the earlier episode, I didn't know. I had, for the first time, I had about emotional intelligence when I was already married, and that was way after I had my experience was that at the beginning of our marriage, I don't want to say an emotional wreck, but I've said,
Yeah.
yes, I feel like I didn't know how to, I was not empowered to manage my emotions. And so I used to have many explosions. And of course, that happens because remember, marriage already adds to what you, as an individual, every one of us is carrying something. You're dealing with maybe work, you're dealing with relationships with family, and then on top of that, you become a wife. So for us, I conceived our first baby 2 months into our marriage. That was another added pressure because remember all the hormones that come with the pregnancy. So I was, my God, it was a difficult time discovering myself. And here I am as a bride now. I'm having to deal with, mood swings and being sick all the time, morning sickness, which I don't know why they call it morning sickness. It is like all day sickness. And remember, we're still getting to know each other with my husband. We had only courted and dated for 8 months from the time we met to getting married. So here we are. We thought we would have time to settle in, get to know each other. Boom, pregnancy comes in. So you can imagine all the roller coaster and not understanding how to manage my emotions. We used to clash a lot. And so later on, when now I learned about the skill, because it's a skill, emotional intelligence, I realized that if I had been empowered with it, I would have done some things better. I would have managed my emotions better and not explode on him or anyone else. And sometimes we even explode on children because we are frustrated and we want to let out. Yeah, so emotional intelligence helps you to be able to understand your triggers. If something is going to cause you to react a certain way, you pick it before it even happens, and you're able to find ways. There are many ways that you can find to manage the emotions. Yes, they're not bad. Emotions are not bad. They're actually good, but you need to bring intelligence into the emotions to have good relationships. Yes.
Amazing. I see you mentioned that between the time you met and got married, it was 8 months.
Yes.
Would you say there's an appropriate time that people say, you have to date for 2 years, 5 years, like you're being studied like a course?
I do agree.
Yeah. Some of us is medical degree 7, before. Would you say there's like an ideal time, or it really depends on the individuals and the maturity levels?
Yes, I think, like you've said, maturity, and yeah, maturity could mean many things. I've just thought of something before I even answer.
Yeah.
I think we need to come to, or to remove this notion that marriage should happen at a certain age, because like we said, you need to be ready for marriage. And readiness here is, we've talked about wholeness, being whole, being healed, going through whatever you need to go through, whether it's therapy, whether it is counseling, or even the word of God. You don't need to see somebody else, because the word of God itself can actually such as the Bible says that it is a double-edged sword. It pierces, everything, soul, bone. So you can be in a place where God Himself heals you from your past wounds and past trauma. And so until you're ready and you feel you're healed, you're whole. And of course, you can tell. I believe that even if we may not be able to pinpoint where your problem is, you can tell that you're not a whole person. I hope it is true.
Yes.
Because like in my case, remember I've mentioned that I didn't know about emotional intelligence. But when I was single and working at a certain company, I remember I used to have what I would have moments when I don't want to interact with people. And I don't think it's about my personality. Of course, I'm an introvert, but it wasn't really about just wanting my space. I feel like I was at a place where I wasn't even working well with the others because I was moody. I would get home and wonder, who was that? Who was that? And so later I came to realize that it is something that I was actually dealing with. I didn't know what it was, but I would go home and cry to God and tell God, I don't want to be that nasty person. Please help me heal, help me become a better person. And so it is possible that you have seen things about you that you don't like, because in a relationship, you want to be in a relationship with a pleasant person, someone who is pleasant to be with. And not just even marriage relationship, even with friends. Yes. But if you're nasty, you have a nasty attitude, then no one will want to be around you. So it is those things that you need to work on before you get to a place where now you can start thinking of marriage, because otherwise you will end up getting married and you will have conflict after conflict all the time. Yeah. So about the dating period. So once, yes, you've realized you're ready and someone has come and you have done the check, you feel this is somebody that you can do life with, I don't think there is an appropriate time to date or court, because you will never know someone fully.
That's true.
You will never know someone fully. Even people who've been married for 50 plus years, they say that we are evolving as human beings. That is the beauty of us human beings. Otherwise, we'd be so boring. If the Sue I met yesterday, 2 years ago, is the Sue that is there 3 years later, life will get boring. But we're always becoming better, we're always evolving. And so, in fact, when we say get to know someone, it is to know the foundational things, their values, the things that you can live with, their belief systems. Because as they grow, those ones are they're very foundational. They may not change. So those are the things that you look out for. But you can't say, now I have known this person, let's get married because I fully know them. No, you will never know someone fully. For Christians, I think, don't date for too long for obvious reasons. You will end up you getting intimate. And so to avoid the pressure of getting intimate and ruining this relationship, because once you bring in the aspect of intimacy, like we said earlier, you stop seeing somebody for who they are. You become blinded. And that's why God recommends sex for marriage, because then it joins you and connects you. But once you do it outside, then it means that you stop seeing, you stop being objective about things. And that's when you will start overlooking some things, because your judgment is clouded. Yeah, so I don't think there is really a certain age that you can say this is enough, because there are people who meet in school, maybe in college, they're still getting to build themselves up. Then you can give yourself time until maybe you finish school. But if you're both in a space where you can make decision to get married, I don't think there is any age restriction really. Yeah. I mean, time, not age, time. Yeah.
Amazing. You talked about when you were beginning about emotions, and I realized sometimes we don't even know that even the people who are surrounding you are already feeling you are too much. We don't want to be around you.
Yes.
And those are now the things people get into maybe a relationship. And if we have not dealt with ourselves, issues start right there. There are all these things people now, there's a lot of terminologies that we were not hearing when we were young. gaslighting, guilt
Yes.
tripping,
Yes.
and I realized some of these things, like the conversation we were talking about earlier, you had worked previously in attachment styles.
Yes.
I was so shocked to realize that when most of us, like when now we get into a relationship is when these things come out.
True.
Yeah, I didn't know I was avoidant until I was in that space.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when I have understood who I am, what are my strengths, what I need to work for, and now start working on what I need to do.
Yes.
Do you think there's a place where sometimes when people are getting to know each other, and like now for some of us who got married when life had already happened, and there's normally like a wisdom required. I'm not saying we don't say, like maybe there are things, probably depending with the person, what is a place of communication on where I am coming from, the journey I have been through. Because I think it was just right here on this on this set, and somebody talked about some people will rule you out because probably you are just somebody else in the world. Then you got born again, you have started life, and they stop you at body count. So remember that lady, that lady asked, I was hosting her,
Yes.
a pastor friend of mine, like, who was, did Jesus ask the Samaritan woman?
What's
Did
your
that
body
hinder
count?
her? Yeah, did
No.
that hinder her? So what are the things you'd say would be ideal to, maybe as I'm getting to know, this is where I'm coming from, or this is what has happened, my family is like this.
Yes.
And is it something that also grows as you people grow or with maturity? Because there's something maybe somebody will not handle on the first date.
Yep.
What did you say?
Yep. Very true.
Yeah.
So wisdom is required.
Yeah.
You don't meet day one and you have told them your life history, your family history. Of course, everyone will feel overwhelmed because they've not gotten to know you first. There are things that after getting to know you, so that if you later tell me about them, I'll be like, yeah, if that was you, then you've really overcome. And I'll give an example of sometime, I think last year, I was talking to a lady in church and she was telling me how, we look at you in church, a pastor's wife, you're so prim and proper. The way you talk. And I told them, that is Jesus. That is the work of Jesus in my life. Because when I was a new wife, trust me, I wasn't like that. My husband has had to be patient with me and God has had to work on me. Yeah. And because I remember he used to tell me, you're very defensive. It's like you come, when we're having a conversation, you come out guns blazing. But that came from somewhere. And I realized that I lost my dad when I was 10 as a young girl in a family of 9, and I'm the last born. So it's like I had to fight for everything, for space. I feel that could have contributed. So even in our relationship, I always felt like, I had to always fight. My husband, on the other hand, is a firstborn and there are only 3. He has never had to fight for anything. So there was such a difference. He would see me come out to defend myself and wonder, why are we, I've never had to fight for anything. So the place of communicating your past has to be done with wisdom. You can't tell it all on day one. Get to know somebody first. Wisdom will guide you on, just like we build. I think it's the same way we build girlfriend relationships. You don't go telling everything on day one. You have to see how you're gelling. And in fact, a relationship needs to be very organic. Let it grow naturally. Don't force it. Don't say, let me tell them this because then they will see this in me. And I think that's the pressure that is out there. Let it grow naturally. Build that friendship naturally. And by the way, it is so important in marriage that you have that friendship that was not forced. That was not forced. That you guys can sit down and talk for hours and not get bored of each other. Yeah, because the person who is for you, who is mature enough, will be able to say, that's your past and it's okay. Let's move on. We don't need to dwell on your past because all of us have a past. We made mistakes in the past that now we know better. And so, yes, there is the wisdom on what to say, when to say it, but we should also have the maturity to say, you know what, this is their past. Why should it hinder me? So that should not be the only determinant, I think. Yeah.
Amazing. So the place of communication is crucial, because
Yes.
also I believe, like, even later when the relationship starts to develop and all that, how we grow and even bring out the best from each other is from the point of communication.
Very true.
Yeah, like I would want to know, this is what they like, this is what they don't like. They also have to, because you said about preparation and all, and I realized, you see, when a young girl is growing up, we have a lot of dreams, beautiful dreams of these fairy tale weddings and Prince Charming carrying us on a white horse.
Yes.
When I was growing up, when I grew up, moment was to get married at 25.
Oh,
Yeah.
25 is a number.
And of course, I know. And so, of course, marriage didn't happen. But at
Mhm.
25, I got a baby.
Wow.
Today, looking back,
Mhm.
and the kind of space God has allowed me to be in,
Yes.
if I got married in this at 25,
Yes.
I would have walked out the following day, because I didn't have capacity to hold.
Wow.
So, what should you tell a young person who is feeling like they are delayed? Meanwhile, God is working in you, because God knows. Yeah, God knows.
Yes.
Because when that time comes, you fit in like a glove.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you are telling,
yes.
how do you manage 7 children? By the way, I don't know. It's so graceful. I don't have stress. Yes, because God had prepared me for it.
Yes.
And sometimes I feel like we should change ourselves by cutting the process of waiting. Then you get there and you realize, this is not the man who was smiling with me, when I needed a smile.
True.
Yeah. So what would you tell somebody who feels like, hey, this time, is there anything like biological clock, or is it us who give ourselves pressure unnecessary? And especially, I think the women.
The women.
Yes.
Wow. Let me start with the one before you mentioned the biological clock, where you talked of getting married to this man and then you realize, who is this? If you desire marriage, first get to understand the purpose of marriage. I think we grew up with this idea of marriage, but many few people understand what marriage is really for. And especially for a believer, marriage is first a form of worship. I was amazed to read. In fact, I saw this yesterday in Deuteronomy 7, I think chapter 4, when God was talking to the children of Israel and telling them they should not marry from other tribes, because they should not allow their daughters and sons to intermarry with other tribes, because they will hinder them from worshiping Him. And I was like, wow, how many times do we talk about marriage as being a form of worshiping God? Because we also know it is through marriage that we bring forth godly offspring. That is the purpose of marriage. Many times people think, I just want company. It is like an endless sleepover with your best person. No, those are the things that young people are talking about. So when they say marriage is for mature people, when they say marriage is work, count the cost first. Are you ready to handle someone else in your life? When I used to hear marriage is work, when I was single, I used to think, yeah, cooking. That will be the list of your concerns. You can hire someone to cook. The work is in how you two, and I like the way you talked about gelling, because yes, we become one. How two individuals become one. Even Paul said it's a mystery.
It's a mystery.
It is a mystery. How you get to understand this person, what they like, how they like things done, their emotions. I mean, it takes a lot of maturity, a lot of stability in who you are to be able to accommodate someone else who is so different from you, who likes things differently, who has lived until they are fully grown, doing things differently. And now the two of you are coming together in the same space, sharing a vision and living together. And so it needs to be something that you know exactly what you're getting into. It is not just for you to get somebody to be spending time with, going for endless dates with, but it is also work. When you understand marriage is work, then you go in with intentionality. And also, before you think about what you want from the other person, ask yourself, what am I going to offer? Actually, that changed for me a lot when I was single. I had this long list until one day God told me, okay, fine, this is what you have. This is what you want the man to have. What are you bringing? And I had to do my own list of what I will be to my husband. And so grow fast, get to understand that this is something that is going to need a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, a lot of selflessness. So yes, prepare well. About biological clock. Biologically, yes, there is a biological clock which says that, after a certain age, and that's why there's menopause, at a certain age, it becomes more difficult to get children. But I will also want to encourage somebody that God who created time, I mean, the biological clock is not louder than God's timing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like you said, He knows us so well that He knows what our purpose is and when is the right time for us to get married. Because like you said, if you had gotten married earlier, I also mentioned the same in the previous episode, I knew that when I eventually got married, I realized, wow, those years that I kept thinking I was ready, I actually wasn't. And God loves us so much that He wouldn't want to give us something that would end up being a curse. For lack of a better word, that He's given you this marriage. Yes, now you're married and then you're miserable. It's not really, that's not God's idea. God's idea is for you to be ready so that by the time you're there, you're fully there, you're ready, you're prepared, you're enjoying it even as you're serving God and serving each other. And so, yes, despite the fact that we understand biologically there's a biological clock, I believe God's timing is more important than even that biological clock. Because there are people who get married young, and unfortunately, some end up not getting children, yet they got married young. So when you understand that all these things are in the hands of God, you stop giving yourself pressure. For men, it is financial clock. They say they want to get to a certain level financially, but even that, I think how much money will be enough? You have to put some things, you have to allow God to lead you, because if you put all these, blocks that I have to get to this point, some people end up missing out because of those, their own ideas or their own timelines. So don't allow timelines to hinder you or to rush you. Yes.
Interesting. There is as I think we had mentioned when we were winding up the other part about nowadays people say, hey, I've gone to character development. I don't want anything to do with relationships. Yeah. And all that character development and that feeling of soko ni chafu. Would you say it's an element that has built up probably because number one, maybe we do not work on ourselves, because you see, by the time you said that when you realize this is the list you have given God, and He's like, okay, what is your own? I feel like some of us don't get to that space of what am I offering, because of we are too clouded with what we are seeing on social media. Oh, there's this wedding fairy tale. I want like that. You get lost in now thinking about the person and what you want, that you don't have time for the practical things. Yes. But with character development and all that, would you say there's a lot of baggage we get into relationships carrying? So by the time I'm getting there, I'm a baggage to the person. We cannot even discuss anything, any small thing, we erupt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say? How would you help somebody who feels, character development is real in this journey?
It is so real. And honestly, I feel for the single people. I almost feel like there's a crisis. They come and they're so concerned. They're like, man, what is happening? The ladies feel like we have worked on ourselves, but the men are not, they're not showing up, at a certain level where we expect them. And the men also have their own, complaints as well. They say that the women are demanding too much, that they're not ready to handle. And so there's all this back and forth. But I will repeat what I said. You don't need all of them. You need one. And as long as you are in your place of purpose, serving God, doing what you need to be doing without pressure, the right person will find you there. I know many people use the story of Ruth, and it is true. When she was busy doing what she needed to do, Boaz showed up. Yeah. And so, yes, soko ni chafu. It is so unfortunate that there are so many people out there who have baggage, who are not taking responsibility, who are not thinking of what they will offer. They're not thinking, what should I should be treating this person better. I should come ready. Because that mindset alone will make you step back and say, you know what? let me work on myself. So we have a lot of selfishness, I think, today, where someone just wants to get into a relationship for what they will get and not what they will give. But how to avoid that? Have your boundaries, have your values right, know your worth. Then before you even start, there are people who it should be buy at hello. You don't need to even go
wow.
further. Yeah, because you don't need, just because you're single and the other person is single doesn't mean that you should be dating. I remember when I was single, people would meet you and they would ask you, so are you single? My answer, I think, okay, not then, but I'm thinking right now, your answer should be, it depends on who is asking. Yes.
I want
Just
to go to everyone.
yes, exactly. Because just because I'm single doesn't mean I'm available for you. Yeah. And so once you get to know your worth, you will not rush yourself. And I know, ladies, sometimes you feel like no one is asking you out. That I went through that way. Sometimes you even start checking yourself. I'm like, "Wait, the last time I checked, I was beautiful. How come no one is saying even hi? You even want someone to just text you and say hi." And I came to realize sometimes being hit on by everybody doesn't mean you're beautiful. You could be the low hanging fruit that everyone can reach. Build your values so much that only the serious people will be the ones approaching you. Don't be so available. Everyone can come say hi. Everyone can take you out for coffee. No, no. Mm-mm.
I love what you talked about self-worth, because we'll be winding up shortly and I would want you to give a parting shot. But I think when your self-worth is ideal and you know who you are, you believe in yourself, it will not even be difficult to walk into Java and say, table for one.
Exactly.
Table for one, please sit, enjoy your whatever latte or whatever you are
Yes.
having, and knowing there's nothing that I'm lacking. Because you have mentioned something about when I look at myself and I think, nobody's asking me out. What could be the problem? Do I need you to apply hot pressure where, add silicone where you don't need to
Oh
go
my
through all
God.
that? And I think once we don't appreciate who we are, like I am enough. As I am enough.
Yes.
What is the point of, as your parting shot, for a young person to know you are complete? Yeah, somebody's asking you out or not, you are complete.
Yes.
And the one who is meant for you will find you right where you are.
Yes. My parting shot is that first, you need to know that you are beautiful, fearfully and wonderfully made. The price that God paid for you, Jesus paid for you, is enough to show you that you are worth dying for. So you don't need every Tom, Dick, and Harry to come remind you that you're beautiful. No. As long as you know your value, you know who you are, walk in that boldness, walk in that confidence. Sometimes, actually, you can be so available and desperation comes in, and men can smell desperation from afar. In fact, jokers take advantage of women who are desperate because you're available. They can, take you out, do what they want. But for those who are very, they know their value, they are, confident in who they are, that alone helps you sieve out the jokers. And yeah, so you can be comfortable and confident and know that the right person will be there. And don't change your values. Don't allow people to tell you, oh, your values, your values are too much. Maybe you yes,
Calm down a bit.
yes, lower your standards to maybe there's no man who's available for you. I used to be told the man you want, maybe an angel, no one can fit that. And I used to say, you know what? God has that one for me. And so I'm not saying have unrealistic standards and expectations, expecting a man to have everything, expecting a perfect person. No. But have your basic things that without this, we're not moving forward. That will help you a lot. It will save you from the heartbreaks. And when people are talking of character development, you will be, you'll be okay knowing that your character has been developed by Jesus, not by by men. Yeah.
Amazing. So I want to believe that our viewer has picked a few pointers on how to know your self-worth, have values, because anybody who is coming into your life will come, it's like they receive what you are presenting. So if you present yourself as somebody who knows who they are, your values are intact, there is no time for somebody to waste your time, because the time is not even there. So I hope you have enjoyed this conversation. Feel free to reach out to us. Our email address will be running down the screen, and phone number you can reach us on if you have any question. It is my desire that you would get into healthy relationships that will translate into marriage at the right time that you will enjoy. Marriage is not kuvumilia. No, we are not in that category.
No, we're not.
And I'm happy that we are here as people who've walked the journey,
Yes.
and on this other side, and we can share from what mistakes we made and for the lessons we picked, so that you can now start on another level without going back. So until next time, may God bless you, may God do you well, and let's keep the conversations going. We only rise and heal through authenticity. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Bye.